What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool news video. And today we have some shocking news that FSG, who are reluctant to back Jurgen Klopp in the transfer market, and in the past 2 years Liverpool have an almost positive net spend, they are buying an NFL franchise, the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't know a lot about NFL, but I know that their clubs, NFL clubs, are worth a huge amount of money, and FSG are investing heavily into an NFL club, an NFL franchise. That has been reported by the Wall Street Journal, an American newspaper, which is a very reputable American newspaper. So let me know what is your reaction in the comments below. But I absolutely hate it because after FSG got a major investment from the investment firm Redbird Capital, many Liverpool-based journalists have fed the information to Liverpool fans that this means that FSG will invest more money into Liverpool and we will be able to buy better players and improve the club, improve the team, and give Jurgen Klopp the best chance possible to win trophies, to win titles in the next 3 years. What a load of rubbish that was. And I honestly believed the journalists, because some of them were very reputable and creditable journalists. And I think how this works is the club feeds information to the journalists, who based on that information write articles which is put out into major newspapers, and then the fans read it and get an idea of what FSG are trying to do. But it looks like that this was just a typical capitalist move of FSG, actually getting investment outside and also using Liverpool's 4 billion valuation to get to leverage the capital value of Liverpool FC to further the financial ambitions of the owners and themselves, and not Liverpool FC. And that's modern capitalism for you. And I just absolutely hate how this works, because the propaganda that was fed by the journalists, and then in turn the journalists fed the propaganda to Liverpool fans, it was used to portray an image that a decent amount of money, a decent portion of the money that got invested into FSG by Redbird Capital, the investment firm, it was going to bolster the club and it was going to boost Liverpool revenue and Liverpool Football Club's chances of buying better players in the transfer market, improving the club, improving the team, and the club being self-sustainable. They raised money off of the back of Liverpool's value, which rose from 11 years ago when FSG bought Liverpool. They bought Liverpool for £300 million, and I know there was significant inflation in those 10 years, but Liverpool's value right now is £4 billion. So they more than 10x'd their investment, and they use that money to pay themselves, FSG, and to buy another franchise in the NFL, which has absolutely nothing to do with Liverpool. It's literally on the other side of the world. And this self-sustaining club motto is a farce now, and I'm really gutted about this. I'm really fed up, and I just want FSG to invest a little bit more money into Liverpool FC. I'm not asking for £100 million transfers. I'm not asking for Liverpool to buy ridiculous players for ridiculous amounts of money. I just want the bare minimum, which is to have another attacker, so when Firmino is out injured, when Sadio Mane has a knock, Jurgen Klopp can call upon another attacker to help win games. And what happens when Mane and Salah goes to the Africa Cup of Nations and we will have maybe Firmino or Jota out injured? Who will play up front? Who will score the goals? Origi also picked up a knock for Belgium. This is just absolutely crazy, the situation that Liverpool find themselves in. Let's not even begin the injuries in centre midfield, because we have loads of injuries in centre midfield as well. And the problem with these journalists is they probably peddle the propaganda that is fed to them because they want an easy life, they want to get access to the club and to the players, and they don't want to go against what the club is feeding them. But yeah, this is a problem, because as I said, I don't have the much faith in the Liverpool owners to be anything other than good businessmen, people. Of course, it could be worse. We could be owned by somebody like the Glazers who bought Man United on a leverage, and they piled up a huge amounts of debt. So at least Liverpool are self-sustainable. But as I said, Liverpool should be able to invest more money into the club. And the problem is that Liverpool isn't helped by FSG owning the Boston Red Sox, and it isn't helped by FSG owning the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is just a money move, basically, because running an American franchise, even in the NFL, which is not as profitable as baseball, but it's basically guaranteed income every year because of TV deals, because of sponsorship money, because of stadium revenue, and franchise values keep going up in the USA. So they see it as a good price for a franchise, and they buy it, and then they get guaranteed income every year, and basically they won't lose the money on the deal because franchise values keep going up. And that's the problem, that in England there are not many other options otherwise, because it's not a model like in Germany where fans own 51% of the football clubs. So in England you have to be owned by a billionaire owner. Most of them are not English and they don't have any connection to the club itself. And that's the sad reality of modern football. So let me know, what do you make of FSG's ownership so far? I think it's a very mixed bag. They made some hugely successful and brilliant decisions, bringing Jurgen Klopp into Liverpool FC, bringing the recruitment and scouting team and refining it has been a huge success. But they also made some terrible blunders, and I could list a whole host of them, increasing the ticket prices, joining the European Super League, and Liverpool fans haven't forgotten that. And this is just another in the long line of decisions which I don't feel comfortable with, and I wanted to share my opinion with you guys. But I also want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Let me know, what do you think about FSG buying another huge American franchise in the NFL, the Pittsburgh Penguins? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, one of the problems with FSG is that they are not ingrained into the English sporting culture, English sports and English football culture, because the blunders that they made with Liverpool would hardly make a headline with American sports, an American sports team, or in the American media, because raising ticket prices, layoffs, furloughing people, joining the European Super League, these are the norms in American sport. And most of their blunders with Liverpool were because they were used to the American style of team ownership, and it's totally different in Europe. And that's why I wasn't overly happy when they bought Liverpool Football Club. These were just another bunch of American owners for me who had no connection with the football club itself. But nowadays, I mean, who has £4 billion to buy Liverpool, who have any personal connection to Liverpool FC? I don't think there are many billionaires out there who actually are ingrained into English football culture and also into the history of Liverpool FC. So I'm probably just daydreaming here, thinking that one day we will be owned by people who actually care about Liverpool Football Club as a football club and the community and the fans. So now let's talk about the injuries, because Liverpool have new injury concerns, but we also have some good news. Sadio Mane, according to James Spears, is showing no ill effects from the blow to the ribs that he suffered playing for Senegal. He's part of team training. But Jordan Henderson, James Milner and Harvey Elliott are working away from the main group. It's not a surprise that Harvey Elliott is working away from the main group, but he's actually weeks away and not months away from being back for Liverpool, which is very, very encouraging. And Henderson and Milner probably won't be available for the game against Arsenal. And Curtis Jones also misses out because of that freak eye injury. The official Liverpool website shared this update. The important thing to emphasize is there is no lasting damage to the eye of Curtis Jones. The nature of the issue means that caution is important, and we need to allow the eye to heal, time to heal, and we can't rush it. Therefore, it won't be a speedy return for Curtis Jones. So he could be out for another 2 weeks, maybe a month. There is no timeline on that. And Divock Origi was substituted off for Belgium against Wales. He was holding his foot before being quickly substituted, but there was no stretcher and Origi walked around pain-free after the game. But we will have to wait and see the club to assess the injury. Bobby Firmino is still out injured, and that's why it's a worry that another striker, another attacker is injured for Liverpool. And all hope is on Minamino, and hopefully he doesn't suffer from a lot of jet lag because he played for Japan in the international break. Andy Robertson also got a knock, so he was substituted when Scotland beat Denmark 2-0 in a brilliant game. I watched the highlights, they played fantastic football, and Hampden Park was absolutely rocking and packed to the rafters. The Scottish people make a brilliant atmosphere in football games. But Andy Robertson's knock is a worry, but this gives Kostas Tsimikas a run in the team, and I think he more than deserves it. Andy Robertson hasn't been his best self this season. He hasn't hit top form, even he probably admits that. So Tsimikas deserves a run of games, and hopefully now he will get it, and hopefully he will show the kind of form that he showed in the first half of the season. And Harvey Elliott's injury looked like a bad injury at first, but now he looks like he's already back out on the grass, and he's doing leg presses in the gym. And it's great news for Liverpool, because Liverpool are light in the midfield area, and hopefully it doesn't take long for Harvey Elliott to recover. Players are looked after very carefully these days, but if Harvey Elliott is back out on grass and actually running and doing leg exercises, I would expect Harvey Elliott to be back in contention maybe in January or just before January. Hopefully it's not a case of months until Harvey Elliott is back. And Henry Winter, who is one of my favorite journalists in England, he actually gave a glowing recommendation or review of Neco Williams' performance for Wales. He said, right or left, fullback or wingback or even winger, Neco Williams looks like a real prospect. He's fearless, he has great energy, he makes driving runs, and he's scoring in international games. He was outstanding for Wales against Belarus and then against Belgium, and he's only 20 years old. And because Wales got a point against Belgium at home, they will be seeded in the World Cup qualifying playoffs. So congratulations to Wales, and I really hope they make it after, like 60 years away from the World Cup. That would be amazing. And Scotland are also in the playoffs as well, and they haven't been at the World Cup since 1998 World Cup, when Scotland last took part. Oh, I just looked it up. Wales were once at the World Cup, at the 1958 World Cup, where they made the quarterfinals, and after that they didn't qualify at all. That is amazing. And yeah, Scotland, I was right. The last time they qualified was for the 1998 World Cup. So Scotland also needs a place at the World Cup badly. And Rhys Williams could be recalled by Liverpool. He is on loan at Swansea City, but he only made 3 league appearances all season so far for Swansea in the Championship. He also played in the English League Cup once, but that's it. So he only played 4 games for Swansea this season, and that's not what Liverpool wanted. We wanted him to go to a club where he plays regularly. So him not really being even in the squad most of the time for Swansea is a real worry, because Rhys Williams, 20 years old, he needs to play, and the way that this is going, it looks like at Swansea he won't be going. So maybe we will recall him and loan him out to another club where he plays. But it's really worrying that he can't even get into a mid-table Championship club's squad most of the time, not even sitting on the bench. That's a real worry. So he probably didn't really impress the new manager at Swansea. So yeah, let me know what you think about that, and let me know what you think about everything that we talked about in this video. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day, see you later, goodbye.